Right. Should be streaming on DLive, on Facebook, and on YouTube. And DLive is the place to watch this show, folks. If you care about free speech, should be streaming on DLive, on Facebook, and on YouTube. That's yeah. Okay, good. So, show coming up in about 13 minutes' time. Just going to put on a bit of music. You know the score. So tonight, pedo prisons. Dave Hunter coming in to expose paedophilia in Britain's prisons. I think it's going to be quite fascinating, and I'm looking forward to speaking to him. And taking your calls, guv.li/rant on Discord. And if you're watching an archive version, you might want to just fast forward about 12 minutes or so to the top of the show. All right, okay. Truth. Oh no, I played that last night, didn't I? It was just as bad then. Hold on. You know, folks, the place to watch this is on DLive. Yeah, DLive. That's guv.li/chaos. And the reason for that is because, we got to support free speech. And it might be pretty soon that we've got no choice if we want to start, keep spreading the word about, but to use, for example, blockchain technologies such as that Steemit and DLive sit on, yeah? We're going to have to keep talking more about this, but I'll tell you what, this Article 13 stuff, this Article 11 stuff is potentially just going to really kick the boot in, yeah? It probably is, yeah? I don't know. We need to be prepared, yeah? Watch this on DLive, yeah? For crying out loud, stop supporting these bloody social networks or do the bidding of these bloody fascists, yeah? guv.li/chaos. The link's at the top of the page there. Register there, yeah. Share the show, all that. On DLive, upvote it, because then I get some money, yeah. Take this. No, hold on a sec. Oh. No. Can't do that. Can't be doing that. Oh no, and this guy's depressing. I mean, for crying out loud. Hold on. There we go. Yeah. Take that either. Can't hack it. There you go. This is quite good. 3 minutes, people. Right, okay, let's just do it for crying out loud. Evening all. Good evening, good people. This is the Daily Chaos. The show ain't daily, but the chaos is. I'm Olly Connelly. Thanks for turning up. And now, pedo prisons. Former prison officer and founder of Dark Whispers, Dave Hunter, breaks the lid on paedophilia inside. I'll take your calls on Discord from the bottom of the hour. That's on guv.li/rant. And we'll see you in the comments. Share the show, like the page, subscribe to the thing, all that. Let folks know that we're watching, we're thinking, we're talking, we are active. Yeah. And I better get my guest on. Yeah. Right, come on, Dave Hunter, for goodness sake, get yourself on Discord, man. I'll tell you what. I'm sort of pulling up my news tabs here too, yeah. Not that I'm disorganized tonight. Right, okay, I've got no guest on Discord. Dave Hunter, come on, man. God bless you. Really want to do this chat. But in the meantime, let's have a look and see what's going on in the world of fake stream. And so I'll pull up a few news tabs and just forgive me a sec. There we go. Okay, all right. So we got that and that and that and what have you. All right, okay. Papers today, I don't know, tax fraud, damaging, billions more needed for defense, says Williamson. So big old headline on the Thames. They're not talking about PESCO, are they? They're not talking about that at all. Isn't that really where the debate should be headed on there? Minister urges soft Brexit deal. Yeah, of course they do. Of course they do. Daily Telegraph, cabinet war over Project Fear Mark II. Yeah. Unions join business leaders to demand urgency in Brexit talks. What about their members? What are they saying? Who was it that said that on the show last night? Good point. Well said. Daily Mail, a green light for criminals. Anger as Justice Minister calls for most sentences of less than a year to be axed to cut jail population. All this amid a crime epidemic. Not least the likes of, according to Metro, smirking terrorist guilty of Parliament plot. Yeah, the plumber who smirked as he was stopped by police from carrying out a deadly terror attack outside Parliament, faces life in prison. Khaled Ali, who had spent years in Afghanistan making bombs for the Taliban, was followed by officers for 10 miles across London armed with 3 knives. The 28-year-old Yeah. How many do we not hear about, I wonder? And, of course, this is going on all over Europe all the time. Yeah, brilliant. Cheers, Angela Merkel. Right, so I don't know where my guest is. Which is a real pity. Let me just tap out a message and see if I can get hold of him. You got problems with Discord. Which many people do have problems with Discord, do they not? Let's face it. If anybody else wants to call in and have a chat on Discord, you can. guv.li/rant. But otherwise, I'm just going to go through some of the news of the day or not. as may be the case. Look, it's the Daily Star and it's the Sun. Yeah, okay, right. So actually, the Sun did have a good editorial the other day about Brexit, I have to say. A very good editorial, basically telling this government what for. Right, okay, there's a couple of interesting things on Drudge. Rasmussen reports, they tend to run a lot of polling from Rasmussen on Drudge. 31% think US civil war likely soon. It's quite a high stat now. Most voters fear that political violence is coming from opponents of the president's policies, just as they did in the second year of Barack Obama's presidency, and nearly 1 in 3 think a civil war is next. I don't know. And meanwhile, another poll says 59% fear violence from Trump haters. 31% predict civil war is the way it's reported on the Washington Examiner. The division in the United States that has escalated into the organized harassment of presidential aides has 6 in 10 worried about the violence from anti-Trump advocates, and nearly a third fearing it will end in civil war. I played that video last night of that, what's her name, that sort of US stateside Diane Abbott, who was being chased down the corridors of power, refusing to answer the questions after she was stirring up anti-Trump incitement to violence, really. But I mean, we've seen it from not just from the establishment and even the likes of the Bush family. You could argue, but also from the media. I mean, even on Inauguration Day, CNN was running stories about what if the president gets assassinated. I mean, talk about cynical news reporting on Inauguration Day. Oh, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, sure. They're still stirring up the division, the likes of the Soroses of this world now, bussing in their protests and what have you. Okay, let's see what else is going on. Blair. Oh, don't we love him? Claims resistance to globalization risks political return to 1930s. Why do we give this guy any airtime? He was talking on, let me guess, what, Bloomberg, the Guardian. Okay, resistance to mass migration and to so-called free trade deals risks taking the world back to the dynamic of the 1930s. Oh, excuse me, I got some wind there. Resistance to mass migration and to so-called free trade deals risks taking the world back to the dynamic of the 1930s, according to Tony Blair. Well, does it really? Did we have mass migration back in the 20s, for example? In a speech set to be delivered to globalist think tank Chatham House on Wednesday, the former Prime Minister will rail against populism and demand the UK government delay Brexit, claiming he has never been more worried about the future of the UK. The Guardian reports. I mean, it's truth. This guy is a war criminal. You know, they put him on the BBC. He would better adorn the end of a rope. It's absolutely disgusting that this guy gets any airtime at all. And the fact that this is kind of like this guy is the chief fanboy for the EU just says something, doesn't it? The fact that one of their presidents, Jean-Claude Juncker, set up tax havens. That was basically what he did as PM of Luxembourg for big corporations. I mean, that is fascism, people, yeah? Levi Devani, does Ollie realize the guest is sat here? Oh, God bless him. Oh, hold on a sec. Let me just see. I didn't know. Let me just see. Where is he? Dave. Oh, you can't open Discord. Oh, Oh, blimey. Okay. Look, hold on a sec. I'll tell you what, Dave. I'm going to call you on Facebook. So just bear with me. Let's try this. A different way. Hold on. Because frankly, what Dave's got to say is a lot more interesting than what I've got to say. And the news is also bloody predictable. Because guess what? Tony Blair is rolled out every 2-3 months, isn't he? And as are the rest of them. It'll be Alistair bloody Campbell on this week, next week or something, won't it? And so on and so forth. So it goes on, trying to grind us down. Right, okay. So, Dave, I have now got you on Facebook, and I'm going to call you on it. So hopefully this will work. Is it going to work? Is it going to work? It's ringing. It says it's ringing. Tony Blair. Yeah, gotta love him. Right. Express. Schengen is over. Fury as Macroni pits France against Europe to defend EU free movement. Yeah. Go on, Italy, Slovenia, etc. Rees-Mogg slaps down Corbyn as a peddler of false news in Commons showdown. Yep, that sounds about right. Let's see if Dave is in the comments. Oh, I can't. I'm on a Mac. What has that got to do with it? What's that got to do with it, man? Oh, Dave. Oh, for goodness sake. Blimey. You know, people, I'll tell you, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. We've so got to be heard, our community, the voice, yeah? I saw earlier John Wedger got interviewed by John Rhys Evans from the DVP, the Democrats and Veterans Party. I don't care what party it was. I'm so chuffed that John Wedger got interviewed by a political party, and full marks to you, DVP, and to you, JRE, for doing that. Full marks. And the bottom line is that these people, and this guy, Dave Hunter, who was going to be coming on, he's coming on, I hope, tonight somehow. I hope we can work this out. You get. They got to be heard. They got to be heard. They have to be heard. And I want people to share this show, but only if he's going to be on here. But actually, you probably should anyway, so people can hear about that bloody war criminal Tony Blair, in case they don't know. I was in the middle of a conversation on the heart of British politics. I think that group on Facebook earlier. Yeah, I mean, talk about libtard central. I mean, God bless it. I have respect for the admins because they do always publish my stuff, and I'm pretty forthright on there, and it does frustrate me. I mean, I know these folks have got their head in the sand and what have you, and I understand why, but because it's painful, basically, isn't it? But on the other hand, yeah, it is frustrating. And so I put a post out there earlier about Tony Blair, similar kind of nonsense bloody story that was on something else, just pointing out that this guy's a war criminal. Only one person liked that story on Heart of British Politics. I mean, that goes to show, really, that the people just don't care. If the guy is spouting pro-EU, it doesn't matter that the guy's a war criminal. Doesn't matter of the fact that he put a D notice on Operation Ore, which I imagine that Dave Hunter would have something to say about. Former prison officer, Dave. Right, let me see if I can get him on. Blimey, how am I going to get him on? Because I've run out of rant. No, I haven't really. Ellie was with John Wedger today. Good. Yvonne Tierney. Good. Marianne Walters. Dave, nip next door and use their laptop. Yeah, for God's sake, do, man. Blimey, Dave. Look, hold on. What are we going to do here? This must be simple. Have you got a smartphone? You've got an Apple. You've got a Mac. You've got a Mac. You've got a Mac that hasn't got any. Right. I'm going to give you a link. I'm going to send you a link on WhatsApp, that thing that we were talking on earlier. And the link for that, okay, I need to pull up a page. We're going to try this with a thing called Jitsi. I hope this is going to work. If it doesn't, I don't know what to suggest. And so I'm going to create a room that we can talk on. And I'm going to call it something, and I'm not going to let everybody know what I'm going to call it in case we get lots of trolls. But I'm going to tell you in a message that I'm going to send you on WhatsApp. And so it will be called... right. Okay, go there. Dave, go there, please. And maybe that will help. And we can actually have a chat. You know, I mean, there are so many ways, aren't there? No, hold on. He didn't have Skype, yeah? He didn't have Skype, Dave. So that's all right. But he said he had Discord. But then his app doesn't open. So then we tried Facebook. That didn't work. So now we're trying Jitsi. There are so many different ways we can communicate, but it befuddles me how people are so often incapable of using any of them, really. In our community, people, we got to be heard. We got to have, understand a bit about telephony online, about being able to talk, being able to communicate, being able to do interviews like this with as many people as possible, getting the word out any which way we can, and doing things like having headsets. You can pick up a cheap headset, for a few quid. And that's much, much better than having a microphone in a laptop or on a smartphone or something like that. So, we got to be heard, people. We got to be heard. I tell you, dead serious here. This is the radio producer nagging. Yeah. Right. Okay. So, Dave, you're not on Jitsi. That link I just sent you, oh, blimey, did it not send? It didn't send. It's sent now. It's gone now. Oh, for crying out loud. It's gone now. That link I've just sent you, if you go to that, we should automatically be able to talk. And anybody else, if you want to come on guv.li/rant onto Discord to discuss some of the things we're talking about tonight, then please do. And normally I would take calls from hour for my guest, but seeing as we've lost 10 minutes of our chat or whatever, I don't know, maybe it'll be a wee bit later than that, but by all means, pop in. And he's not there. Absolutely useless. Completely useless. Don Davidson, with all the different political parties, you guys are proving their point to them that the people can't run your country. Find a way to unite and work out your differences after you're in control of your own nation. Yeah, Don, you're absolutely right. Dave Hunter, iPhone. I don't know. That's going to work then. I don't know. Look, Dave, in that case, if it's not going to work tonight, we'll do this another time. And we'll just have to do it another time. But let's do it, for God's sake. Let's have this conversation. It's another conversation that should be had, yeah? So let me know if you can't do it, and we'll do it another time. And this is just a call-in that case. So if you want to phone in on guv.li /rant, then please do. Oh, he's on Jitsi. This might be him. Dave, you're muted. Okay, you're muted. You have to unmute yourself now on Jitsi. Yeah, that's right. Unless I can unmute you. No, I can't. You are muted. So on your icon, on there somewhere, you have to unmute yourself. Oh, blimey. So should we have a look, see what else is going on? EU given financial warning. Brussels not prepared for no Brexit deal. Report says, guess what? Yeah, of course they aren't, because there isn't going to be a no deal Brexit, is there? There's going to be no Brexit at all, at least under their plans. Dave, can you hear me?
Yes, Ollie, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're there. Okay, please let us know, people, if you can or cannot hear Dave Hunter loud and clear. And to hell with the news. Let's just get into this chat.
So what a faff about that was, Ollie.
I'll tell you what, mate. Blimey, do you do many interviews? I mean, you should, given your experience.
But that Discord's not working. It won't open the app to do it.
You normally use Discord, do you?
Well, yeah, but it wouldn't open. It just kept saying, I got your invite, opened it, and it wouldn't open. Wouldn't do nothing.
Let me pump up your volume a bit, because you are a bit quiet, but okay, all right, that's good. This Jitsi thing is quite a cool standby, isn't it?
Yeah.
Worth remembering. Anyway, we've got to be on the case with our comms. People. Right. So, Dave, could you please just give us a bit of an introduction to yourself? I understand that you are a former prison officer and that you have some serious concerns with various aspects of our society and quite a lot of inside knowledge.
What it is, Ollie, it's the reason I've come on is obviously I've been a prison officer for 15 years. I've now left the service, and I worked at a paedophile jail for the last 10 years. So I've seen paedophiles coming in from reception right out to discharge. Okay, I don't think people are actually aware of what goes on in these places. They see all the hunting groups, which I have my own group. We're not prominent in the community. We don't do live stings only because we're a small team. what have you. But obviously, from leaving prison, I wanted to carry on doing what I was doing because I saw what society actually does with these people. I think people have an impression of prison that's harsh. Some people think it's hotels or what have you. But paedophiles in general, when they turn up to prison, are quite, what's the best way of explaining it? Quite arrogant in the way because they know they're going to be protected. The jail I worked at was a solely paedophile jail, okay? So there wasn't the threat and there wasn't the Rule 43 where they go on the numbers and they're segregated from all the mainstream prisoners. It was a solely paedophile jail. Now, when these people come into jail, the hardest time they probably get at the minute is when the hunters sting them. Because when they come in, they are treated with kid gloves. The government insists we are totally PC with these people. They insist we call them Mister, although that's never been passed. And to be truthful, it's no deterrent whatsoever, which is what I wanted to put out there. In the hunting community, you continually see reoffenders being stung by teams. The reason that is because there is no deterrent for somebody who is sick in the head like that, who has got an attraction to children, will come back out and carry on. They will come back out, they'll carry on offending because they know prison is no deterrent. When they reach prison, they're fully clothed, they have everything. They have what they call a property list. And once they're in prison, they're allowed to have everything off that property list, which is everything that you'd sit at home with now, barring a computer and a phone, stuff like that. They have everything. There's no deterrent for paedophiles to go into prison to stop them going back. Okay. The other, I will give a shout out to the sex offender treatment programs that they receive in prison. Mm-hmm. These courses are intensive and they're 6 months long. And they do bring the offender to account in all aspects of their crime. And they have to pass this course for parole. But what you've got to remember is, looking, and anybody who's in the hunting community will know this, the very lenient sentences to get. Our sex offender treatment programs are very limited because of the spaces. So if you're on a short sentence of, say, 18 months, you're going to serve 9, you're going to wait 6 months for a course, you aren't going to get on it. So they send them out to the community on community courses, which are a joke. They're nowhere near as intensive. It's just it's a paper exercise to put them through a little course. But you cannot change a paedophile's way of thinking. They've tried chemical castration, that didn't work. And basically that's what I want to say. There's no deterrent for these paedophiles to going into prison. They're treated with kid gloves, and they take it as a break from their society.
Wow. Okay. So this prison, this paedophile prison, how many paedophiles were there in that prison?
840.
And somebody's decided that the best thing is to keep them together, so that there's less upheaval in the prison service. Is that the deal there?
Not necessarily. I think it's just easier to have, because they are what they call nonces, not a normal criminal element. They can specialise in the treatment for them. Mm-hmm. It does relieve.
So that makes sense, at least. So that bit, at least, Dave, you could say makes sense. What about the sort of sentences that are doled out to them? I mean, if you're taking aside the kind of privileges that they do or don't get, that they do get, you're saying, taking that aside, what about the sentences themselves? How justifiable do you think those sentences are?
Well, there's two ways of looking at it, Ollie, with me, because we obviously were a prison. We had some serious offenders in there. I mean, talking real children. We had rapists in there as well as the odd child murderer. But their sentences, because there's a real child involved, are a lot longer because there is a victim involved. Some of the sentences were quite lengthy, and rightly so. But even so, they're only serving half of them sentences. With the paedophile hunting community, there's no actual victim. It's just a grooming prosecution, and they don't carry the same length of sentence. And they don't. It's because there's no victim there. However, I think the community, as they are in the hunting, they are actually preventing this. 9 times out of 10, these paedophiles are turning up to meet. Oh, so they're on that final.
Hold on, whoa! Just a sec. Sorry, you got cut off there, Dave. You got cut off there on that statistic. Tell us that again, please.
I was just trying to reiterate that the sentences in the prison I worked at were lengthy because they had real victims. So they were lengthy sentences of 8-9 years, but still even half of them. Whereas the paedophile hunting community, because it's not classed as such a serious crime, but what I want to that these people are turning up to meet what they believe to be children. So they're on their last leg of their offending that crime. So I think what the hunting community are doing are putting these people away for a short, sharp shock, if you like. Will happen if they've got no deterrent not to go back to prison.
You know, I don't know if you're noticing this. Please let me know whether or not you are. But Dave's audio is cutting in and out really badly. And it wasn't when we started this conversation. And it is now on every other word, nearest damn it, or every few words. And I get so bloody annoyed with this. I have to say, it's not only difficult to conduct a conversation, but more importantly, it's bloody difficult to get the message out, because people, if they are beginning to watch an interview like that, where that happens, and they get frustrated, then guess what? They're going to turn off. And that, I suggest, is precisely what GCH bloody Q is doing. Now, I might be wrong, and my suspicions may be unfounded, but if you are GCHQ and you're fucking with my show, excuse me, I do get a bit angry, yeah. I do get a bit angry, because I do know that the people that can mess around with our community is messing around with our community in each way they can. And a lot of us are trying to fight back as best we can. And it's really, really frustrated a lot of the time when you have got at least one arm tied behind your back by this bloody establishment of paedophile-loving traitors. Okay, right. So, Dave, bless you, mate. I'm determined to get through this chat. Look, I've only got half an hour left of this show. We've got a load to talk about. If we don't get through this tonight, can we please, and anyway, can we do another show and discuss this again, where we do not have these problems with the telephony?
Yeah, no problem.
I want people to share this kind of stuff. I really do. Man, okay, right. So, okay, yes. Something about these sentences as well we're seeing. It's a news story just from the last couple of days. This Home Office under Sabit Javid, or whatever his name is telling prisons to release a whole bunch of prisoners who are serving something like a year or less, or maybe 18 months or less, something like that. But basically getting a big releases going on. Now, I wonder, seeing as it seems to me that these folks that I don't know, prosecuted for God knows what, but these sort of pedophile type offenses, they seem to get a pretty short period of time anyway inside. I guess a lot of them are going to be released now. I don't know what your take is on that. If you thought about that, know about this story.
It's not a new thing, Ollie. It's not a new thing at all. It all comes down to risk factors. Okay, everything to do, especially with sex offenders, it's about risk factors. Public. Okay, that's a lot of what the pro goes on, among other things. So it's a.
What do you mean, risk factor as to in terms of reoffending factor?
Of course it is. Yeah, it's down to the risk factor of whether they'll reoffend.
Right. And in the case of a paedophile, I mean, the thing is, it's an illness, isn't it? That's the basic problem. It's very, very hard to prevent this complaint, if you like. It's a bit like being a sociopath in a way, isn't it? Or psycho. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of in the genes almost. No, I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, it's like I tried to tell you earlier. I do give a shout out for the facilitators who do these 6 months long courses, because it's very intensive and very hard on them. I mean, they have to have a break from it. Having said that, after speaking to a few of them, they can point out exactly who's going to reoffend and who isn't. And I could see them coming back through reception 3 months later for breaking their parole conditions or license conditions. You can't change what's in control of your body, okay? And not sounding crude, but it's not their brain in control of the body. and that's when it's more of a powerful source in your brain, you're in trouble, aren't you? And they'll never change. The trialed chemical castration at the prison didn't work. They gave them all sorts of medications, and they'd bring them up to the reception where they would put a sensor band around their penis, talk off a script of sexual chat, and I think it was, I don't know, 90% failed it. So the chemical castration side of it is a waste of time. The actual courses that are intensive, they're not a waste of time, because all they're doing really is hammering home what they've done is wrong, and what their actions do and cause to these victims. Now they ruin, but then that's on their moral sense, where they're big enough to, I'm not doing this again.
I don't know. I mean, it depends on the offence, doesn't it? And it depends on the evidence. Is it absolutely 100%? And if it is, it seems, and the offence is, if it's a child and if it's rape, well, for God's sake, I mean, I would have thought that they should have their bollocks cut off, basically. I mean, why not? Why not? Isn't that send a message, for crying out loud? Go on.
The government don't allow you to say things like that, Ollie. That's not PC.
I'm not PC.
No, that's the sentiment of most people, and it's right. It may be, physical castration is the way forward, but would that stop them still talking filthy? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, I would have thought that would be a hell of a disincentive. I mean, at the moment, it's like, hey, you might get a few months inside, whatever. You don't really need to resist your urges or whatever. We do. I mean, I did it. The numbers are frightening, aren't they? What are we talking about? How endemic is paedophilia in British society, in your opinion?
Huge, absolutely huge. I'm in. I'm not prolific in it, but I'm in the hunter community. On a Saturday night, there's things happening. And this is out there for even paedophiles to watch. And half the paedophiles that are caught nowadays say but they're still out there meeting children. It's always going to be there, and I have no idea how we're going to change it unless we start putting these people away for proper sentences. But as you can see, the government wants to release them because they're not classed as a high risk to every member of the public. Let
me put it to you that instead of incarcerating them, we do have them castrated. We do incarcerate them as well, but not for so long, because the main penalty is losing their bits. I mean, that should be a big disincentive and take away their inclination afterwards. And so the street should be protected from that point of view. Doubly so. And I mean, wouldn't that I mean, never mind all this political correct nonsense. The fact is that we got to stop this. And where kids are being, and also post-pubescent, I mean, for crying out loud, these youngsters who are so damned innocent and are being, basically it's awful what's happening. We need to protect them, for crying out loud. It ruins their lives. It ruins their entire lives in many, many cases, and those around them. And it permeates throughout society off the back of it. The opportunity for the entirety of our wonderful society is downgraded as a result of every time this happens. And so, I mean, if we do take away the kind of this, liberal with a capital L type mentality, and we start thinking about liberal with a small L, for crying out loud, first duty, protect the kids, protect the future. Then isn't that the rational suggestion? And also, would it not be a great way to reduce the prison population and, probably nub out the problem?
It's a nice theory, Ollie, and I love it. The physical castration side to be brought in, it'll never happen. I think the only way forward, and I think there's a lot in the hunter community who agrees, is it's educating the kids to be aware of this, that it is a massive issue in their lives when they're in the teens, that they should not be talking to anybody they don't know, if you know what I mean. More Facebook's a nightmare. It just allows anybody to talk to anybody. And I think it's more that there should be money ploughed into, if they're going to release prisoners, then plough the money they're saving into education and it's got to be hammered home. Quite a few of the hunting groups have gone into schools and tried to talk them through it and shock them into
Good.
it. But
Good.
it's still there. It's still an epidemic, and that's where I think we need to be going with it. It's the education.
What about parents? I mean, surely parents are very aware now and actually rather frightened.
There's a lot of parents out there who are doing, Ollie. That's the problem.
A lot of parents who what?
Who are out there who are not watching what the kids are doing.
Because they don't care.
Oh yeah, all the community projects.
Or because they're too tired.
You've got to be looking at. You've got to be looking over the shoulders, see what they're doing. You've got to be seeing what sites are on. If you're not doing that, he can sit in his bedroom on any site they want in this. So yeah, it's an education, not just for the kids, but for the parents too. You know. But how do you do that? You know, it's things like this that parents need to be aware of. Are you looking at what your kid's doing on their tablet at night? Days or pass a kid a tablet to keep them quiet. You know, and once they reach the age, you know, you see young kids now tablets and iPhones at the age of 3 and 4, and they know how to use them. So when they're 8 and 9, they're surfing the web and they're going on all sorts of sites. It's an education for parents and children, and until that's hammered home in any way, it's always going to be there.
Okay, let's take a few comments. We've got Simon Dawson here as well, Simon, on Discord. If you want to ask away, please do. And yeah, Sandra Wright says, people think it won't happen to them. They don't understand how big the threat is. And Amanda Thompson or Ollie, they could be working. That's right, Amanda. Absolutely, absolutely. Quite right. Maureen Smith, these people are predators and they will to the kids. One way or another. Levi Devani, most parents have no idea. They live in a bubble. Paul Hart says money magic. And Paul Hart says, why do people shout, oh my God, in high extreme situations? Well, I do. Who are we fighting? They kill celebrities and children for fun. Stay flat. There is no deterrent, says Helen Lasky Smith. There is no deterrent. My God. I mean, is there no deterrent? I mean, can we not just suppress the problem considerably? At the moment, are we not appeasing the problem at the moment, Dave?
Maybe an island would be a good idea. Something like evacuate the Isle of Wight and put them all on there. You know, for a long time.
A big part of the problem, though, is it not? Hold on a sec. That's Simon. Simon Dawson. Simon, would you like to ask something, sir? Now, hold on. Hopefully it'll work out that he's muted or something. I don't know. Anyway, Simon, if you got something to ask, please do. I don't know what it is. Go on, Simon, please.
Yeah, I'd like to ask, who in the hell would like to control this paedophilia? Because the only one who's controlling this paedophilia is the MI5 and the establishment and the Crown, because they're all involved in it. Am I correct or not?
Can you hear this, Dave?
I can, yeah.
Good.
When it comes to the political side of it, Ollie, is
just a sec. Just one sec, Dave. Just one sec. Look, Simon, you're not going to be able to hear him without there being echo for everybody listening to what he's got to say. So listen to him on your web browser and then come back on Discord to ask your questions, please. But that's a great question. Okay. Please, okay. Mike. Sorry, Dave, please.
Not wanting to disappoint you, Ollie, but when it comes to the political side of it, it's not really my bag.
Balls.
I've seen it from the government side, working in the prisons.
Right.
I see how prisoners are appeased when they shouldn't be. And, you know, from only being in 15 years, I saw a huge change of how we treat prisoners inside, especially the high-profile prisoners. I don't want to mention any names, but we had a high-profile prisoner in, a child murderer, treated totally different to the rest of the prison population in a favourable way to him. To where there's a point that if he got recognised, he had 3 numbers on his phone list that he could phone, and the police would have him out of prison within half an hour. So preferential treatment, and to me, that's where perhaps the government and the rest of it come into it. You know, why are we doing that? He should be treated the same as anybody else in the same circumstances, but they're not. And who's behind that, I'm not sure.
Okay, Paul Hart says we need foreign help. Why do you think that? I can't read that, Paul. Yvonne Tierney, speak up, Simon. I can't hear you. You can buy child sex dolls now, says Amanda Thompson. Where are the deterrents? Yeah.
We actually posted that on our website, on our Facebook site, showing these sex dolls, and they look like children.
They do.
They have children's faces, yeah, and everything. And
there was a documentary on the BBC.
This is just promoting it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think they make them in Japan, no? Or is it? There was a documentary on the BBC about it. Marianne Walters. And yet, on the other hand, that sounds like the BBC's helping here. But the BBC has been totally enmeshed, it seems to me, in this, if you like, VIP pedophile cover-up. Now, I don't know how much you would care or not to comment on this, Dave, but I mean, it really makes you wonder whether or not, for example, Childline is actually a front to screen calls to see if there are allegations about, for example, VIPs and to protect them instead of protecting the victim. I mean, there are questions about Jill Dando. Obviously, there's what happened with Jimmy Savile and his links. Yeah. Just absolutely beggars belief. Absolutely beggars belief. And there are lots of smoke, lots of contacts with Prince Charles, for God's sake, the heir to the throne, and the Queen's husband, and his godfather or whatever, Charlie's godfather, Louis Mountbatten, and we, it just. So it is kind of like, is it not, Dave, as though we live in a society, Great Britain, pedo Britain, which is kind of, I don't know, from looking around at the smoke, you kind of think the place must be run by pedophiles for pedophiles, or maybe it's some sort of satanic abuse thing, the kind of thing that Bill Maloney talks about. God bless him, I've got to get Bill on this show. And the rest of us are just being, played like an orchestra. Divided, ruled. About 100,000 kids a year go missing. Yeah, a lot of them go home again, but in Britain, child homes seem to be having been used as like effectively child rape brothels. So we've been reading about. It just seems to me that the reason that paedophilia isn't tackled properly as an issue in our country is because the people that run the place are right up to their necks in it.
I think you're possibly right, Ollie. It's when you look at the high-profile ones like Jimmy Savile, that wasn't just a couple of years thing. That was a reign of terror that man had on children, and it was never ever reported. It's for some reason it's not being reported. Why? It was Jimmy Savile at the end of the day, but it all got covered up for many, many years. You've got to wonder what's behind that. Because at the end of the day, these are TV stations promoting this person. Did it go from there to a government? I don't know. It's something like that. But when you talk about children's homes and stuff like that, what you got to remember with paedophiles, they prey on the vulnerable. A paedophile will always look for a vulnerable kid first. So they obviously places like that they attract paedophiles to work in them because all that's in their head is there's vulnerable children there and they can take advantage of that fact.
Do you have any thoughts about the IICSA, sir? The independent inquiry into child sexual abuse?
It's not, like I say, Ollie, that's not really my bag. I keep myself to a simple level sort of thing.
Fair enough.
Don't know enough about it, Ollie, to comment on it.
Okay, all right. It was set up by Theresa May when she was Home Secretary. As Home Secretary, it makes you wonder, actually, what she would have known, for example, about those Heath years. Yeah, those Ted Heath years, which were discussed during her tenure as Home Secretary, of course. And the fact that he received that Dickens dossier, from was it Jeremy Dickens? Jeffrey Dickens, God bless him, took that dossier in to the Heath Home Office, and it was then it was shredded or whatever. He had another copy at home, and he was raided by MI5 or something, or was Special Squad or something or other, and they took the other copy Anyway, but then, Theresa May, she would have had a lot of information about what really happened, and the PI link, the fact that the Home Office under Ted Heath that took us into the EC, could have been being blackmailed for all we know. Oh no, blimey, I'm going around in circles now. Okay, Yvonne Tierney, what about the people that went missing after they phoned Childline? They were reporting what happened to them. Valerie Druce, it's all over this world. A great big network run by Rothschild Zionism, not ordinary Jews, but Zionists. Marianne Walters says Melanie Shaw. Yeah, Melanie Shaw, who was put inside after a secret court, after she was trying to uncover paedophilia. Do you know anything about Melanie Shaw, sir, Dave?
No, Ollie.
She was a journalist.
Don't keep yourself that current.
Fair play. Well, this is a couple of years ago now. She was imprisoned. Secret courts that take children from families, Marianne Waters also says, and also took this journalist took her reportage away from us, conveniently for the establishment. And a lot of people would say that's exactly what's happened with Tommy Robinson as well. If you like, an internment is going on of journalists. Levi Devani, government official, recently stung. He's been bailed, I believe, but they say not enough evidence. Look like he's been taken care of. Theresa May has skeletons in the closet, says Maureen Smith. That guy Keith Vaz, for crying out loud, he was caught with a rent boy doing a load of cocaine or whatever, and he's still, chairing select committees, isn't he? Where's the investigation into that? And quite aside from the fact that he probably isn't quite as fit to be chairing committees as we thought. Marianne Waters, she has spent her sentence and is still in prison. A hearing sometime in July. Secret court. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you. And if anybody wants to come on to talk specifically about Melanie Shaw, I'd love to do that show. Shell Rawcliffe, she should be out on the 5th of June. Right. Okay, Shell. Right. So, do you see any hope from where you sit? Your experience as a prison officer has spanned some time, sir. Do you? It just seems to me that we're getting worse and worse. That our social services, I'm talking about the services that supply us socially, are getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and are running out of control. How do you see things?
Control. What the unseen community has been working 2 or 3 years now, prolifically, hundreds of stings a year, need in front of people. You're up again as a community. We're reporting crimes that this man has got the potential, and I showed the intent to meet a young girl for sex after arranging it, showing vile pictures and what have you. I submitted a chat log to Newcastle Police, Teesside Police, October. They phoned me 2 weeks ago to say they just got round to it. They're not even spoke to the man. There's a failing in the police side of it, without doubt. If there's a failing at the beginning of this process, there's going to be a failing throughout the whole process. That's not proactive enough in this country, and I think we'd be too overrun to even tackle it. The hunting community is doing what they're doing. I think the government will shut us all down eventually. Have you
heard?
Yeah, I do.
Have you heard, for example, the kind of things that John Wedger is talking about? Ex-CID, he was on this show. He's been on a few places, and thank goodness, talking about how he would report dozens. I mean, like something like 90-something cases of underage child rape and whatnot. And the Met Police just didn't want to know. They just shut him down. Have you heard about cases like that? Does that surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me in the slightest. I think to a certain degree, a lot of police don't want to deal with it. I had a policeman turn up to one of my decoys today, and he'd never actually been involved in anything to do with online grooming, and he had no clue of what to do, what to take, what evidence he needed. Nothing. It was an absolute joke. And that was from Suffolk Police or somewhere down there. Absolute joke. So,
and he was a policeman. He wasn't a special. He was a proper policeman with a full training as such.
He quoted he'd been in the job 14 years.
14 years?
And he had 14 idea how to deal with one of these cases, and he openly admitted that to my decoy. I was gobsmacked when she told me.
Unbelievable.
He didn't even know what paedophile, the name of the paedophile he was there to deal about. He had to ask the decoy because she got 2 or 3 on the go. She didn't know. It was just a joke, and that's what we're up against. And if that's what we're up against,
so that guy at least, who's had presumably bugger all training in these matters, did he at least take an interest? Did he realise the severity of the matter?
Yeah, he took it very matter of fact. You know, I think he'd been sent out because he was local to the decoy. Didn't really want to be there, and like I said, he said he'd never ever dealt with it in 14 years. I find that amazing that a policeman of 14 years with a case of online grooming or sexual assault or anything like that. I just couldn't believe it. And I think that's what we're up against, Ollie. I think the training's there in the police force. They have safeguarding units, which they don't have. This policeman openly admitted we don't even have a safeguarding unit at our police station. So, because there are only a select few around who specialise in it. So we're up against it from word go because the training's not there and the commitment isn't. The
training is not there and the commitment isn't from the police, says Dave Hunter.
I think that pretty much summed it up.
I just actually wanted to say, I should have said this way earlier in the show, but the hunters, for anybody that isn't sure that's listening to this, and hopefully we are getting out beyond the choir, yeah? The hunters, these paedophile hunters, are folks, members of the public who go out catching paedophiles, doing a bloody good job too. Do you find that the police, generally speaking, in your case, Dave, is respecting what you guys are doing? Obviously, there are a lot of paedophile hunting groups now that have been going for quite a few years now as well. What is the relationship with the police? Apart from, taking aside the ignorance, I was going to say, but what is your, I don't want to put any words into your mouth. Go on, you tell me. What is the relationship?
Well, up to now, Ollie, there's something like 133 groups in the UK. So it's expanding all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of teams work differently. Okay, there's a big political issue about live streamed to Facebook when you actually meet or alleged paedophile. Things differently. The police do not like live streams because they feel investigation. Okay, because it's like you're proving them guilty, although they are. You're proving them guilty before they've had a chance to even be interviewed. The way I do it, and a lot of other teams do it, and some of the other teams are coming away from the live stings, is I approach the police first. Where I sit down and talk to them about it. They are more approachable with that sort of stance. Mm-hmm. Okay, I show them all the evidence I've got, all the information I've got about the person, and we'll get to go and meet that person on the intended meet date because it shows intent to turn up to do what they've done, which stands in good stead with the CPS. That they are good, they can show intent that this man was going to follow through what he said he was going to do. And I've really had no problems with on that grounds. However, when it comes to getting any information from them, they totally refuse to give you any feedback or anything like that. So on the whole, I've had good experiences with the police that I've dealt with face to face, and we've always got a result. We're still outstanding 6 cases waiting to go to court, but it's just such a lengthy process now. They bail them the day after, unless they're a reoffender for any other crimes. They are back on the streets, and they can be for 6 to 8 months before they even get to court. But on the whole,
how many convictions have you brought?
Up to now, we've got 6 outstanding at the minute, and that's from starting.
Dave, you just broke up. That's from starting. Dave Hunter is gone. Dave?
As I say, you shouldn't have.
Dave, you just broke up there. You just broke up for about 20 seconds. Went. Just entirely gone. Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, let me take a few comments. And then I think we've got Chris Ford here on Discord. So we'll take a question from her too. Amanda Thompson says, I can't watch a few, Levi. Far too heavy-handed, could harm the case in some ways. Talking about the stings, I imagine, yeah. And Levi Devani said you should talk about the poor quality of some of the hunting groups. They aren't all professional. What would you say about that? Well, you did actually a bit, didn't you? Go on.
Yes.
But go on.
Everybody does it differently. There's no hard and fast rule of how to do it. There's no training. It's just simply voluntary organisations going out there with the right intentions. There's always going to be the argument if they're heavy-handed because they're putting them under citizen's arrest. They're manhandling them. They are putting them to the floor, which they have every right to do under a citizen's arrest because they're reporting a crime. But there are good groups out there. There are bad groups out there. There always will be. But I see it's with the right intention and it gets the right end result. As long as they can still get that end result in court, regardless of how they do it, to me, that's the result.
Maureen Smith says, wait till they get these new fast-tracked detectives straight from university and trained in 3 months. Oh, blimey, more common purpose, Nick. Yeah. Had to... also, Maureen Smith says, does Dave know of any other prisoners getting kept inside after their release date has passed, like Melanie Shaw, who was exposing, and possibly VIP paedophilia she was exposing is the question mark a lot of us have, eh? That is just something that doesn't happen, is it?
What you got to remember is that people don't realise they get a sentence of so long and they will only serve half of that if they complete their courses or whatever you say. They do get out early. If they misbehave in prison, whatever they are in prison, if they don't comply to prison rules and regimes and courses, they can be kept on the parole side of it till their last day of sentence. It is illegal because a conviction warrant, once that runs out, you cannot in prison. That warrant is for a set amount of days, unless they're sentenced to Their Majesty's pleasure or whatever. But if they have a set sentence date, we're not allowed to hold them because that warrant becomes invalid after that release date.
Chris Ford, can you? Chris, can you hear us on Discord? Chris on Discord. I tell you. She called in once on Discord. She didn't realise that she'd called in, I think. And then she called somebody else and ordered a takeaway on all this stuff. Anyway. Yeah, good. Dave, I want to say a big cheers. Dave Hunter, thank you very much indeed for coming on the show, sir.
No, it's been good. I've enjoyed it, Ollie, yeah. It's been good to get a few of the points out there.
Thank you. Oh, blimey. Why does it do that? Oh, blimey. I want to say a big cheers to former prison officer and Dark Whisper founder Dave Hunter for coming on the show tonight. And basically giving, I think, a very, very, qualified opinion on the kind of state of this curse into our society now. We got Carl Stephen just popped in on Discord. Hey, Carl. You always do this, mate.
Ollie, it was Tess. I was talking to Tess Angel quickly. I only just got it myself.
Oh,
and
she's
just
lovely.
Said she was
Tess
trying
Angel,
to get on Discord to come and have a chat.
Oh, Tess. Oh, God bless you. Oh, she's wicked. Tess Hunter. She was on here a few weeks ago. Yeah,
she didn't. I don't think she knew that what was broadcasting, so I just said what was going on. So I'll just give the link to Discord.
You know what?
Just then you playing your music.
I think we should do this show again. Because it was such a technical pain in the arse, the first. And also, you know what? We should have more questions coming in, more people coming in on Discord. This is really, really important. Tess Angel is a good hunter as well. Yeah, we could open this up. Dave, are you still there, or have you gone now?
No, I'm still there, Ollie.
Dave, would you do that? Could we do this? Get Tess Angel on sometime?
Yeah, why not?
Well, it would be nice. I personally want to do a show about this kind of subject that's going on about, once every 2-3 weeks. I think we just got to keep try and keep pumping out the awareness, no?
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Good man, Dave.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good.
Thank you so much for coming on today. And thanks, Carl, for pointing that out. Too late.
No, it's no problem. I've only just got the last 5 minutes of the show myself, and it's just Tess had texted me, so I just text back from last night saying who's on the show. But anyway, another day's another dollar.
All right, mate. Well, yeah, it's a 1 hour show, folks. It is a 1 hour show these days. I'll see you tomorrow at 7. Yeah. All right. Daily Chaos. I'm Olly Connelly. Thanks. Here's to us and bugger plutocracy, yeah? All right. Blimey.